Welcome to the HVAC Insider Series brought to you by Breezy. I'm your host, as always, CJ Todd, and it is a pleasure to be here with you all today. If you're like most contractors, you know the pain of putting in the work to win a new customer only to have them disappear right after the first call. Now, the truth is just too many membership programs are underperforming. Sign-up rates are low, churn is high, and it just makes things harder than it really needs to be. And that's why today's session is all about shifting from transactions to relationships. We're going to explore how real-time data and better engagement can transform those one-time visits into long-term customer loyalty. And in the process, make your maintenance program an engine for year-round profitability. So before we get started with today's content, I'd love to introduce you to Breezy and how our purpose-built field management software helps you build a more powerful membership base. So at Breezy, we help HVAC owners run membership programs that practically run themselves. We deliver automated billing and renewals, service reminders that keep customers coming back, and post-job reports that build lasting trust and loyalty. Our collective users saw a median year-over-year growth of 19%, which outperforms the industry average of 8 to 10. So we aim to bring you the most acclaimed industry experts like Josh Teekell from SmartAC, who we're going to meet today, to give you actionable insights into growing a profitable business. And we do that 3 times a month, and it's absolutely free. No obligation at all to be a Breezy customer. No obligation to use our software to tune into the show and just learn something new. So whether you're looking to boost your sales, improve your operations, or create a more profitable maintenance program like we're going to do today, Breezy and the HVAC Insider Series has you covered. I'm really excited today for Josh's conversation because SmartAC and Breezy are both very passionate about helping HVAC business owners build a stronger, stickier membership program, right? So Josh is a 2-time entrepreneur in the home services industry. His first company, which he can tell you a little bit more about today, scaled to 50 million in annual revenue. And today he's the founder and CEO of SmartAC, where he leads a team of 50 on a mission to transform the homeowner contractor relationship. What makes Josh really awesome is not just a track record for growth, but his deep understanding of homeowner psychology. He understands things like why customers buy, why they stay loyal, and how contractors can turn one-time calls into long-term relationships. So if you'd like to chat with Josh's team about how they can help you create 2 to 3 more times memberships and retain over 95% of those members, you can scan that QR code that you see on the screen today or at any time. I just can't think of anybody better to join us today for this HVAC Insider Series Masterclass. So help me welcome Josh Teekell to the show. Josh, thanks for being here, my friend.
Thanks, CJ. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Again, so we noticed that Stroh's poster behind you. Tell us a little bit about your history in HVAC and the trades in Texas, and kind of like what led you to start SmartAC.
From Texas, grew up in Houston. Actually, one clarification: I did build a $50 million business selling to homeowners, but it was actually in outdoor living, not HVAC. So all of my first 15 years or so of experience was selling to homeowners in the home. It's the same Miss Jones. So my first company was that business, like you said, built to 50 million, it like 1,300 backyards a year. And then had the opportunity to get into technology in the air conditioning space. Originally made a product that saved energy on air conditioning, and we built some data capabilities into that product. And it became really obvious that the whole market, whether it was retail energy providers we were talking to at the time, but then mostly HVAC contractors, really valued the data. And so we pivoted what we were working on with 8 to 10 people at the time, built out SmartAC, the whole platform, software, hardware, and everything in stealth mode, and then kind of launched to the world about 3.5 years ago. So everything we do at SmartAC is to help contractors sell to homeowners. So my background in that buying psychology with homeowners is very relevant. And obviously now we're really focused on memberships. It's the best application of the technology we built, and has really been purpose built around acquiring ongoing relationships in the trades and historically that's been done through memberships. We didn't see a need to change that, but we did want to be able to give contractors more tools in their arsenal to have better ways of acquiring long-term relationships by offering more things to different buying personas. I believe the main reason that 20% was kind of the industry average sign up rate on memberships is because it hasn't changed in 30, 40 years. And so we're, on a mission to give contractors more opportunity to gain loyal relationships and keep them long term.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I couldn't agree more. Maintenance programs are obviously the lifeblood of the HVAC industry. And, here at Breezy, that's our mission to eliminate the off season, right? And that's a really, really big goal, right? That's a really
Mhm.
big, audacious, hairy BHAG, right? Big, hairy, audacious goal. And it's easier said than done, but, you know, really investing in tools and software and automations that can help us create longer term relationships with homeowners is going to help us go back to the well and keep our acquisition costs down and really, build those the valuable relationships for folks. So tell us a little bit about what the average membership program looks like. I heard you say 20%, kind of sign up data, but like, what does the average HVAC shop look like in terms of sign up rate, churn rate, lead cost, stuff like that?
Yeah, so most memberships are going to be like the traditional style, like 2 visits to the house a year. If we're just thinking about HVAC, if they do plumbing and electrical, there could be some other ones. That's generally at the $20 to $30 a month price point. And generally, they're having a sign up rate, I would say, between 15 and 30%. You'll see some variation. I would say the main way that, and this is something we had to dig into pretty deeply, the main way that they get people to sign up is offering day one discounts. That's a really common thing. It actually really works well to increase signups, but the problem is on date, if they sign, if the when you're trying to optimize conversion and retention, the reason they sign up matters, right? And if the reason they sign up was the day one discount, then on day two, the majority of the reason they signed up is gone, right? And that's why it's very common to see, even when you have a higher sign up rate, 30, 35, 40%, the churn rate is very high. The retention's, very low, maybe in the 50 to 70% annual retention. And that just means you're having to go out and get new members all the time because they're just, there's a hole in the bucket, right? Um, so that's pretty standard. I would say 20, 15 to 30% conversion and then retention in the 50 to 75%. We've certainly come across some people doing a really good job with the old methods that might be better metrics, but that's kind of the averages we see.
Yeah, that's pretty much across the board what we're experiencing too over here at Breezy. And so, I mean, you mentioned it, right? There's plumbers, there's electricians, home services is so vast, right? Roofers, locksmiths, the list goes on, and they're all very nuanced solutions, right? And it's like, what do you feel like? Do you see kind of the danger of generic home service software that really don't help HVAC specifically build those retention tools?
Well, I think any of the softwares out there, it's very important that they have a lot of deep experience understanding how contracting businesses work. And then to the extent that they touch the homeowner relationship and that UX and UI and all of that, then it's very important they understand where the homeowner is coming from as well. Sometimes the FSMs don't do much of that other than maybe texting or something like that. And that's really where we try to play is like an extension of the FSM to optimize the homeowner experience, right? So consumer apps that are white labeled, and then really just thinking about it from the homeowner's perspective, like how would I want to engage with a contractor? What's the way that's the best experience for me? I mean, our mission is to perfect the experience of home comfort. Obviously, when we go to market through contractors, they're the paying customer in most situations, and so the experience of the homeowner with the contractor being great is what leads to that retention, which is such a key metric, of course.
Absolutely. um Missed opportunities, right? Thinking about ongoing relationships versus kind of the transactional approach, right? And I think that that's kind of the thesis of today's conversation, right? How do we go from a transaction, a one-time thing, to more of a relationship building process? So what happens, do you think, to an HVAC contractor's business when they don't prioritize those ongoing relationships with homeowners?
Well, it really, to use a software kind of term that's applicable here, it's really the customer lifetime value, right? So if you're going to spend, Ara up on stage at Pantheon last week ran like the average calcs of like, thousands of customers and how much it actually costs them in labor and in spend on advertising to get an opportunity, right? And so if you're having to take all of those costs and make it work with just a one-time ticket, that can work, and it actually does work. But if you can make all of those new repeat business tickets in the future be without having that additional $500 was the number he had, then the economics of every subsequent call are much better. And of course, the lifetime value of that customer relationship skyrockets. I mean, like order of magnitude over 10, 15 years. Um, and so, there's a lot of talk about contractors being too reliant on Google, and the reason for that is sure, use advertising to win a customer, but don't have to go back and win new customers every single year over and over again, right? Uh,
Right.
Obviously, in business models, when you have a recurring revenue coming from anything, whether it's just repeat business or any recurring relationship with monthly billing or anything like that, that's really where the value is, so that you can continue to stack that revenue that's coming in without having to have the CAC, the customer acquisition cost, over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's really great insight. And I appreciate you bringing up Pantheon, because we're going to dig into that a little bit later. But Emily brings up a great question. So glad you prioritize your end users. I'm curious, how are you utilizing AI to enhance those relationships you're building?
Yeah, great question. So we haven't really gotten into yet how our platform works, but like skipping to the end of it, the data allows incredible insights for the homeowner and the contractor to be a bit more proactive. There are reasons why that's great for the contractor's business, just to, when it's not an urgent call, take care of your customers. So when on the hottest day of the year, you can take all new customers, right? And not just servicing your current ones. But for the homeowner, it's just the ability to not lose comfort, right? And so the way we use AI, of course, in machine learning in crunching the data that's coming in at 30-second granularity from the sensors, all year long. But really what we're working on now, and this is not something that's live now, but it's coming early next year, is currently when there's a problem, the technician will reach out, it's surfaced in our dashboard, they'll reach out to the homeowner and call their attention to it, right? And then the homeowner can look in their app and see the data and make that decision to move forward with having someone come out. But one of the best use cases that I'm excited about with AI is simply the nurturing of that relationship with the data, right? So imagine a homeowner gets a message that just calls attention to the change in the cooling split, or a water leak or whatever, gives them the transparent information about what's going on, and doesn't push them to schedule right now. Lets them know, hey, you can snooze this for 3 days and see how it gets worse. You can let me know if it gets 25% worse, or book now. So it's really just the automation of the nurture cycle based on the custom data coming from their home that I think is the most on mission for our mission, which is just to perfect that experience.
Yeah, I echo that, a lot, because the relationship really just requires constant communication at every stage, before the job, during the job, after the job, right? So I'm really looking forward to getting into how SmartAC works, and how, you monitor and you kind of diagnose problems before they become emergencies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emily, all good. We're really excited too. So we're going to dive deeper into kind of that AI conversation in just a bit. But talk about, like, you specialize in homeowner psychology, right? What makes customers choose one contractor over another for repeat business? What makes a good membership versus an incredible membership?
Yeah, well, there's two parts to that. There's calling them out the first time, which is largely driven by the marketing, having the brand be known, seeing them at the right time, when they have a problem, and that's why the dollars per click go through the roof, because everyone wants to get them in that exact time. If you're talking about membership specifically, um, ideally they're really only making a choice to use you for a membership or no one at the moment because it's being sold generally once you've already won their eyeballs that first time. But really, it just comes down to value. At the end of the day, like I think one of the biggest things that we do is we give contractors more things they can offer at lower price points, right? It doesn't matter how much sex appeal your membership has, there's a lot of people that are not going to pay 25 or 30 bucks a month, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're thinking about trying to win as many homes as possible, you have to have things for different types of buying personas. Some people are willing to pay 10 and they're not willing to pay 30. But then, some people aren't going to pay anything. How do we still win that next demand call in that situation? And so, as you'll see with our software and our sensors, it facilitates, at least two new offerings that are lower price points than 25 or $30 a month so that you can win more loyal relationships. I don't think it matters whether they're paying you 30 bucks a month or nothing. It matters that you get the next demand call and that any sort of ongoing relationship puts you in the driver's seat to win that.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, the constant touch points and just the value add at those touch points is very
Yeah.
important. So I love what you guys are doing and really excited to get into it. So we talked about kind of the shortcomings of the average membership, right? 20% sign up rate, kind of 50% churn in the first 2 years, high lead costs. So now I want to talk about what the optimal program look like. What does the perfect program look like? And at Breezy, we really believe that the best memberships, they're a no-brainer for the customer to sign up for, right? They're offered every service, every emergency call, they're offered every time. They're built to keep that retention high, right? I would love to see a membership program with 100% retention. Like that's the ultimate goal, right? And obviously designed to keep the HVAC business profitable year round, right? So proactive solutions, catching issues before they become emergencies, like we're going to talk about with SmartAC, consistent positive touch points, really making the homeowner feel taken care of at every step, right? So again, sometimes easier said than done, but Josh, what do you see as like the key ingredients for a truly effective program?
Well, it's two metrics, right? I mean, there's more than these two metrics, but the most important are the ones we've already discussed, which is how many people sign up and how many people stay,
Right.
right? I mean, you can have an effective program signing 25% of people to memberships. If your retention is 95% plus, that'll work. I mean, you can, as long as you're not losing them faster than you're gaining them, you can grow the business over time. What's interesting is we've seen very clearly that when you even go out and give a bid for a new system to a member, like the tickets are higher,
Mm.
often 10, 15% higher on average. And I assume that's because there's less price sensitivity. They're not getting multiple bids. You're the first one to be able to be there. More laydowns, as we call them in-home sales, right? And so there's a lot of value to having loyal customers, and then eventual value to the money that you get selling them big ticket items. But I really think it just comes down to those two metrics. There's a lot of things we do to streamline the operations to save on how much it costs for you to maintain a membership on average. But like those are secondary to just stacking more homes under management.
Right. And it's like I'm thinking in terms of like what are the really sticky features that come with the membership program.
Yeah.
Um, and and exactly like the perceived value, right? So maybe it's actual value, maybe it's perceived value, and you have
Yeah.
a really cool offering that I want to touch on a little bit later to build that perceived value. But let's get into right now, where does Smart AC fit into this idea of anticipating the customer problem instead of waiting for emergency calls? So like, what is the mission and like, how is it driven by Smart AC?
Well, I would say that I always use an analogy of like fishing, right? If you're out casting behind certain rocks, fly fishing, let's say,
Mhm.
and there's fish behind two of the 10 rocks. You don't know which one it is because you're just casting, you can't see underneath the water, right? And so really where the data comes into play is it just lets you know where the opportunity is. So a lot of our clients are going out to the home less to see what the hell's going on, and they're using the data remotely to be able to know where the opportunity is. The efficiencies gained by that are great for the business. And then of course, from a homeowner standpoint, it's not fun to have an emergency breakdown. And
Right.
so I believe that one of the main reasons that our retention is over 96% in a couple of hundred logos annually when they're using our platform as part of their memberships is simply because the customer is getting value year round. The only days they were getting value with the traditional model, it was just the 2 days they were on site, right? And so out of sight, out of mind is a really big thing. But when you incorporate in some value from the ongoing monitoring, the water leak detection, all of those things, and the touch points of monthly reporting and virtual visits and lots of different things like that, then it's just you're more present. Like they're reminded every single month, yes, I'm paying for this monthly, but I'm seeing the value this month, as opposed to, if you're billing monthly, there's 5 out of 6 times you bill them, nothing happened that month, right? And I do think that's a big reason for why the retention's so high when you're giving them ongoing value in some way.
Can we talk about like tactically what is actually placed in the homeowner's home?
Yeah.
How is the contractor empowered to communicate back and forth with that kind of hardware? And then what's the software experience like for the homeowner and the contractor? And if you want to share your screen to kind of bring anything up to show the audience, that would be cool too.
Sure. So I just a few minutes before here cobbled together a couple of quick slides, but the goals we've already talked about are acquiring the new membership, retaining the membership, and then some operational improvements to the business with using the data to know where to go, right? So the basis for the data part of our platform are these simple sensors that are deployed. They're AA powered, deployed in 3 locations. One at the supply vent to understand the hot or cold air coming out of the vent for every heating or cooling cycle. Pretty simple. One in the return air. Sometimes it's in the wall, sometimes in the ceiling, sometimes it's near the equipment, of course. But this just gives us the split, right? Heating or cooling split all year long, and also gives us the filter life information with the ductwork pressures, and then a water sensor in the evaporator drain pan. And so these are really simple sensors to deploy, but the amount of data that you get off them is really a whole lot because of the granularity of how often we measure.
So good.
So we offer those at $10 a month, inclusive of the hardware. So zero down, $10 a month, which allows you to get paid, pay us as you're getting paid by the contractor, or I'm sorry, by the customer. And then the experience for the homeowner is really where the magic is, right? Every single thing that they do with the contractor from that point forward is done through the app, with loyalty rewards accruing, filter vouchers, direct scheduling through Service Titan, for demand or non-demand calls, gamifying how the system, you take care of it, reinforcing what the technician is telling them, water leak detection, air filter ordering at below Amazon pricing. And so it's really those touch points in the app, and then the monthly reporting, where every month they're getting a report of what's going on at the home, and then some virtual visit capability where you can dive deeper into the data with visuals that you're hitting record on the dashboard to either let them know, hey, we were out there 6 months ago, everything's still good, we're going to keep watching, but we'll see you again in 6 months, and if nothing changes, that's when we'll see you. Or when something goes wrong, you can actually let them see the exact data trend you're seeing in the office with the nitty gritty data to give them the
Yeah.
confidence that they actually need to do something.
Yeah, I love that. I want to hop back real quick. Couple things I want to touch on. So you mentioned how the contractor pays SmartAC. That is based off of them getting paid by the homeowner. Let's talk about that a little bit more. That's interesting.
Yeah, so all of our clients bundle our service into their memberships, right? So it could be a $25, $30 a month membership where they're going out, at least once a year. And so they're paying us 10 of the 30 they bill, right? Or it could be maybe a monitoring only membership at about $10 a month. And as the homeowner's paying for the monitoring, that's flowing through to us. And it's a break-even proposition to know when the revenue is going to be available and then go for that demand call at that time. So we bill the contractor directly. We also, for the sensor product, delay the billing so that they have time to go put them in homes before the billing starts. So we really reverse engineered our model around contractors not liking to pay hundreds of dollars up front for something they're putting on a membership, because the homeowner doesn't want to pay $200 up front, right? Or 3 or 4, depending on the offering. So that billing has just been reverse engineered to make it easier to deploy.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's so important that we not only tell homeowners what we're doing, but show them, right? So that app is super powerful. Can you talk a little bit more about the real-time systems and the reports inside that app and how that helps, build a relationship with a homeowner?
Yeah, so I think the first slide in a lot of our decks is homeowners don't care. They're not going to care about air conditioning until the day the system breaks, right? And so we're not building software thinking that the homeowner is going to log in and look at it all the time. It's more like a security system or a smoke alarm or something like that. You're really glad you have it on the day where you really need it, right? But if they'll utilize the software to order air filters quarterly or be reminded that they have, loyalty rewards and things of that nature, then it doesn't take much engagement in the software for them to remember to use it, a year or two later when they have something wrong, right? And then ideally they're gonna be the first time they know something's wrong, it's gonna come from you saying, "Hey, we just saw this trend. You may not have lost comfort yet, but it's coming," right? And so it enables them, the software and the sensors enable them to really have a much different relationship with comfort in that, when done correctly, they don't ever lose comfort, right? And there are some things that can come out of nowhere, a capacitor or a contactor, things like that. But if you combine annual maintenance once a year with 24/7 365 visibility, you really can, in most cases, avoid that loss of comfort entirely.
Right. Yeah, that's very cool. And the second thing that kind of stuck out to me that I alluded to earlier was adding the perceived value with this kind of virtual kind of touch point. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, so since so many of our clients are when they look at their memberships, they run the numbers about when I go out twice a year, how often am I selling something, right? And really the key metric to look at is when you go out twice a year, how often do they buy from you twice in a non-demand situation? It's like literally never, right? And so the thought process is, look, I was going out twice a year because I just need to have eyes on the system. Well, you don't need to do that anymore, right? So go out once a year and do all the physical things you need to do for heating, cooling, or plumbing or whatever, and then just keep eyes on the system, right? And if it's operating well and there's no problems, it is a waste of time to send a technician out to that home. Now, when you're losing that one touch point in person a year, we need to backfill that and then some with other touch points, right? So that's where the monthly reporting and the virtual visits allow them to know how things are going without you having to go to the home. And so if you can recoup that $200 or $300 in labor on each thing, you're free rolling the 120 that you pay us for the sensors and the software. And then the overall experience is much better for the homeowner. Homeowners don't want to take off time off of work to meet with you all the time, right? I think it's fine once a year, but some clients we've seen before they worked with us were going two, three times. And it's just at some point, they know why you're there. You're there to try to sell them the flavor of the year, right? Whether it's IAQ or whatever you're pushing on non-demand situations. And that can really lead to churn as well, simply because they get fatigue.
For sure. Yeah, and I mean, kind of rolling into a question that I had, I was going to save it for the Q&A section, but how do you kind of combat that? How do you make it seem like it's not sales focused? Is it just kind of, hey, we have a sensor and it diagnosed this problem, and we wanted to make sure to get that out in front of you? Is that kind of the approach?
Yeah, that's actually a really important thing. Like you can use our platform in the wrong way, right? If you get the data and you call the homeowner and say, "Hey, you're going to lose comfort tomorrow, or it's already broken. We need to come out right now." That is not a good experience for the homeowner, right? What you want to do is sell armed with that data, but make it more of a transparency type thing. Hey, we noticed this. If you don't mind, pull up your app and look at the same trend I'm looking at, and let's decide how you want to handle it. It's very important to give them a good experience. You don't want to be jumping through the phone at them, right? And so that's why the transparency of them seeing it in the app in a lighter format, and then the transparency of seeing all the nitty gritty data in a virtual visit that could be used to offset in-person visits or used as for the use case of showing them the problem in more detail so that they can make a decision with that. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to jump through the phone at them. They will either see the data, agree there's something wrong, and have you come out, or they won't. And when they lose comfort in a week or two, they'll remember that you did everything you could have done, with a good, a light touch, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Josh. Next time we'll take you up on that, so we don't go through this loss of comfort."
For sure. That's a really good point. Jumping back to Emily's question from the chat, are there any AI features now that we've talked about kind of how SmartAC works and what the hardware is. Is there any AI features or AI tools that you're using to really, bolster the homeowner experience?
Yeah, so we hired a head of AI about a year ago and have been working on a lot of things in that regard. But I would say mostly the things we're working on are just automating all the things that have had to be manual so far, right? So like
Sure.
that virtual visit, having that being done by AI, so that you don't have to go run one of those for every single one of your clients every year. Or that nurture cycle I talked about, right? And there's a lot of AI behind the scenes in actually crunching the data, and that really allows us to do so much more with that data using those neural networks.
So Breezy has a lot of really cool AI tools integrated into the platform. So I know a lot of HVAC contractors, they kind of piecemeal together some of these AI tools, and maybe they'll record some calls, they'll listen to some calls, they'll do the follow up. We kind of offer all of those tools integrated into our platform. So something that we're really proud of, and it's super effective, is our AI call center rep. So this is an after hours call that goes completely through AI. I called up and recorded this. You can definitely call this number and experiment with it too. 708-223-7061. So I'm going to play this for you. It's just a minute or so long.
Hello, this is Brandy from Popa HVAC. I'm the After Hours AI virtual assistant. How can I help you today?
Hi, I need help. My HVAC system is not turning on and it's pretty hot out here.
Oh no, that sounds frustrating. Since it's after hours,
Very animated.
we do have an on-call technician available. Would you like me to gather your info so we can get someone out to help?
Yes, please.
All right, let's get this sorted. Can I get your first and last name?
Yes, my first name is CJ and my last name is Todd. Collect all of the relevant
Got
information.
it, CJ Todd. Is this the best number to reach you at?
Yes, 209-349-1524. Got my
Perfect.
contact
Can you tell me
information.
your address?
1234 Cherry Lane.
1234 Cherry Lane. Got it. And the city and zip code?
I missed the city and zip code, so she makes sure to grab that. 95348.
All right, Merced, California, 95348. When did you first notice the...
And then, so you can imagine how that call goes, but she basically gets all of my information. She puts me on the schedule. She confirms when exactly a technician's going to be out. And then she definitely reminds them that we have a maintenance program. So that's kind of a really awesome feature that we like to implement for our clients. We have an online booking widget that's pretty turnkey. You'll see here on Popa, we have that widget on their homepage, and it collects some online booking information. So it diagnoses the problem. It asks if we're an existing customer or if we are a first-time caller, and it gives us some options for availability, and it throws us on the schedule with a kind of digest on all of the things that I told the system. We have automated reviews. So this is something that's been super awesome for us. We have a system integrated into our workflow that every time the job is done, it notifies the homeowner and the technician to remind the homeowner to give us a review. You can see here Brody HVAC started over 5 years ago with 100 5-star reviews and doubled that in just 4 months with Breezy's automations. So that's very awesome. This is kind of the system that looks like this push notification goes out. We have the AI powered equipment scanner, which is super powerful. How much time do your technicians waste, or maybe they don't even do it at all, like inputting the equipment data, which could be an interesting integration with SmartAC, right? So they install something, they scan the data plate, and it just automatically uploads it into the system, into the field management software. And then, things like auto pay, auto renew, home owner self-scheduling, automated communications for maintenance plans. And then what you were mentioning, Josh, just kind of like that follow-up sequence, those follow-up nudges. So we can send a nudge when we see that a homeowner views an estimate and doesn't take action. AI written estimate summaries, and AI written sales presentations, all available through the software. So it's a very cool automation enabled system that we're very proud of. But I just wanted to see if you had any kind of recommendation for any HVAC owners that might be skeptical about kind of adopting AI, adopting some of this automation, adopting some of the monitoring that might kind of seem a little bit too tech forward. What do you have to say to those folks?
I would say anyone working at a company that sells technology to the trades would believe that, I don't think you have to adopt everything. You certainly don't. There are a lot of things that are being pitched at contractors with technology, right? And many times when we don't win a relationship, it's like, hey, this isn't the top priority for us today, right? And then 6 months later, maybe it is. But I think in general, if you don't start adopting at least some select technology, you're going to be way behind. I mean, 10 years ago, not everybody had a great FSM, right? And now, there's a lot of different good options out there, and people are running their businesses on those things. So, whether it's AI voice or obviously all the messaging and all of those things, I mean, some things are just going to be normal in 3 or 4 years for 90% of the situation. So you just have to be, cognizant of you probably will look ancient in 5 or 10 years if you're not adopting at least half of the new things coming out. You just need to decide for you, what is most important to your business now and prioritize those adoptions over time. Change management is not easy for customers, contractors in general, but it is very necessary, or else you will become extinct because you didn't move fast enough.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, all of these solutions are really designed to give you an edge, a competitive edge over, the folks that aren't adopting,
That's
and
right.
making it easier and more cost effective to, offer your service and again, like implement all of those value add membership benefits. So I'm noticing, I just have a couple more questions, but I'm noticing that Michael Coop asks, does Breezy work with House Call Pro? So we are, for lack of a better term, a competitor with House Call Pro. We are a field management software system that is highly focused on building recurring revenue through memberships and supported by a lot of those AI features that I demoed and plus a lot more. But Josh, if you could talk a little bit about, I mean, you touched on it earlier, but how does SmartAC integrate with field management softwares, software like Service Titan, Breezy, House Call Pro, Taser, the list goes on. How do you integrate with them, and how does the data kind of talk back and forth, and how does, what SmartAC is doing bolster, the FSM and vice versa?
Yeah, so the way, like using Service Titan for an example, if there's a booking happening through our app, the homeowner is actually seeing the real-time availability, the flexible capacity of your techs, right? So there's no need for anything other than booking directly on your board. When it comes to like the data, any opportunity that's seen by the sensors and our algorithms flows directly into Service Titan as well. And that's how, any integrations we do, we want our data and our value to just to flow directly into their workflows. So you don't have to be jumping back and forth. Now, if you want to look at all the nitty gritty data, you can see more on our dashboard in general, but you shouldn't have to go log in to see where there's opportunity. It should flow in directly. So that's how that works. And then loyalty credits flow back and forth, all the really things you would need to talk just with the APIs.
Cool. Yeah, we're working very hard to make Breezy more shareable and more API-able. So very much looking forward to the horizon, of the next quarter or two to get integrated fully with SmartAC and just really bring these two powerhouse solutions together and create one kind of streamlined solution. So final thoughts, Josh. Like, what advice do you have from moving from transactions to relationships? Where do we start? What would be the first place to start?
Well, I would say take a hard look at your memberships specifically, understand the psychology of why people have been doing things a certain way for 30 or 40 years, right? Some of that psychology still plays and some of it doesn't. right? And then look at the landscape of the technology that you have at your disposal now and say, okay, if we were starting from scratch, if we had no understanding of how things work for 30, 40 years, blank slate, how would we go about accomplishing the best KPIs for a membership program now? How do we get loyal customers? How do we keep them? Um, and then just rethink it, right? And you're going to have to do that across not just memberships, but everything else, right? I mean, with CSRs are going to be a lot less prominent in 3 or 4 years because there's new technology, right? And if you stick your head in the sand for any of these technologies, you're just missing out. And so that's what I tell, clients when I'm, selling Smart AC. I say, look, you weren't doing it wrong. You've been doing it right for the last 30 or 40 years. It
Right.
wasn't until recently with more innovation, right, and other methods that now it is very suboptimal, right? And so it's not like hitting them over the head with you're an idiot. That's not what it is. It's just that now you have different tools and you're going to be behind if you don't use those tools. And that's really the equation with any new technology that comes along.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're in the kind of end of this summer busy season. Maybe we all kind of have the summer busy season hangover.
Yeah.
But it's now more important than ever to really, invest in the tools and the strategies and the solutions that can, make getting people on a maintenance plan much easier. And I really appreciate your time and your solutions and your just care for the industry. I can really tell, that you're passionate in helping people succeed. So I want to open up the floor to some questions. We have a couple in the chat. I see here, does Smart AC save shared video messages, chats, and calls to that customer's profile? Is that something that Breezy has the capability of doing? So we definitely do give you full kind of access to submitting video, submitting photo, submitting notes, submitting call logs, recorded calls. And so how does kind of Smart AC go about kind of supplementing that?
Yeah, so currently all the messaging back and forth that you can do through the app, both you can message text, you can do push notifications. You can now have a video chat feature where the homeowner can click and talk to you and show you what's going on before you come out. Like all these things can kind of be turned on or off. But all those things are logged, of course, and are just with the customer profile. And then those virtual visit videos, those are all logged as well. Like when you create a virtual visit, they go to the homeowner and they're saved in the file there as well, just kind of a one screen with the whole homeowner thing. So, and then when we build the AI Nurture series, even though it's automated and slowly over days or weeks, they're seeing something trend down and getting more and more worried, and then eventually book with you, you will be able to see where that's happening in real time, right? So you'll get comfortable with the way the homeowner is being approached, what's working, right? And can even then, of course, tweak the approach based off of some of the copy as well, if you so choose. But the good thing is we'll be learning what works best with that specific use case across hundreds of companies, and then refining the approach, and everyone will win. Because it's kind of new to be outbounding in an automated way, calling attention. It's not really an alert; it's actually a very detailed interaction, and so I'm excited about how that really will boost the value of the membership and of the data, and of course boost the experience as well.
How do you build buy-in at the technician level? Do you guys offer training to kind of communicate and build the relationship here?
Yeah, so I think it's important that we support that effort, but it's also important that the company gets those things right. So we do all the training on many cases on site with the technicians. Depends on how large the company is. But at a minimum, we'll do virtual training even for smaller shops. So we train the techs on how to do the install. That's only a 30, 40-minute training. We train the CSRs on how to sell the memberships, which scripts work best. And then what's really important to get adoption is how you comp your team, right? Make sure you're paying your CSR something when they sell a membership. The more you pay them, the more excited they'll be. Same thing for the technician, right? And pay them something small to do the 10-minute install. Like make sure you're taking care of your team in that way. Um, and so that's a really, really important part. But then from our side, we have what we call our fast start program, where we actually give your tech an additional bonus for the first 5 kits they put in. Once they've done 5, like it's really easy after that. And so we say, hey, we're going to give them this much money per one for the first 5. Sometimes we'll give you a bigger chunk once you've done 5. We can work with the company to do that, but we're happy to do our part to make sure you get buy-in, because that is really one of the most important things for successful membership programs.
Love that. Bill Leary asks, do you have a list of all the sensors you offer? Is it just those 3 that we mentioned in the start? And then do you have kind of like an idea of any new sensors that might become available?
Yeah, so with the airside ones, we call the comfort sensor on the supply air, the filter sensor, we call it, for the return air, and then the water sensor that goes in the evaporator drain pan. Many of our clients, most, I would say, especially the larger shops, put another water sensor in the water heater drain pan, and then we'll grab plumbing even more firmly by potentially deploying more water sensors through the house. We do have a cable you can snap on to the back so you can run it around equipment or hard to reach spaces or whatever. But really, it is just, they're all kind of look the same, but they have different roles. And HVAC and plumbing is what we cover today. We are working on some partnerships for whole home shutoff, using other people's hardware and potentially an electric product. And we have some great IP on some garage door stuff. But I think those are more a little bit longer down the line over the next year or 2, maybe garage, maybe 3. But yeah, I mean, HVAC and plumbing, we have a really strong hold on. And then keep in mind that whatever trades you offer, they can still book through the app, right?
Sure.
And by the way, one thing we didn't cover that was super important, I don't know how I missed it so far, but we also offer an app-only offering we call Connect, right? So if that last buying persona of someone that won't pay monthly, you can subsidize just the app relationship into the house, pay us nominal fee per home, and then you still get the opportunity to give them the loyalty credits, the booking, all of that. So yeah, that's a big important part, because it's like a huge chunk of people just aren't going to pay monthly. But my
Right.
goal is getting to 80+% conversion on memberships, and the only way to do that is to have something for all the rest, right?
Right.
And that's what that offer is by us.
Yeah, and just coming from the product space, like sticky features are so valuable, right? And that the app just seems like the stickiest thing. If you can get on someone's phone, if you can send push notifications, that's just so sticky. And like one of our stickiest features, I'm gonna say sticky 1,000 times, sticky. But one of our stickiest features is it's a map view for technicians. So if they finish like a job early, for example, they can open their map and it has all of their customers mapped, and it has all of the potential customers in the neighborhood mapped, and like has AI kind of talking points. So if they knock on the door, they can so they're just optimizing their time in the field, and that's something that people really like on the platform. One more question, I think, before we hop off. Do you have any benchmarks or real world examples of how long it takes for a contractor to see the ROI from adding monitoring technologies to their service agreement plans?
Yes, that's a great question. So there'll be leading indicators of rejuvenizing your membership program and getting a lot more signups, right? I mean, that can go from 20% currently before our app only offering, maybe to 50, right? With that app only Connect offering has been only in market for about 40 days. So I believe that can go to 80 plus, right? So you'll see that leading indicator, and then you'll see better metrics on retention. Now, you can have great retention, incredible metrics on retention. And keep in mind, any membership program is trying to help get the next thing in the future. That next thing could be 3 months later, or it could be 3 years later, right? And so you shouldn't necessarily, assume that you're going to see this like massive revenue boost in the first 3 or 4 months. That's not generally how it is. You should see a big boost in new members, and even using the app only thing, blasting it out over the airwaves via text. You could onboard hundreds of new members in the first week, but still it's going to take some time for the revenue to come home from those members. So the key is structuring your membership agreements to where you're not, losing tons of money, because it is a long game, right? And in over 3 years, tripling your memberships can easily be done, but you'll start to see the revenue year over year as you grow that base, but it won't be overnight.
Well, Josh, this has been one of the most insightful conversations I've had on the show. I love how you marry the simple hardware with the software, the sticky features, and just really making it easy for HVAC contractors to succeed with membership programs. So I really appreciate your time. And to everyone on the call, thank you so much for taking the time to invest in yourself. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience?
I don't. I appreciate the conversation as well. Obviously, the name of our company is Where to Go, smartac.com. So we'd love to really, we dig in early with just going through your current metrics and then running ROI calculators and things like that. So we have a very soft touch approach. On the sales side, we want to show you value before we ask for the business, but we'd love to meet with anybody interested.
Awesome. Yeah, same goes for Breezy. If you want to reach out to us, or if you want us to reach out to you, go ahead and type Breezy or SmartAC or both into the chat. Thank you again, Josh. I want to leave everybody with the opportunity to sign up for next week's show. October 2nd, we're going to be welcoming Jonathan Wisman of Who Hire onto the show to talk about overcoming the HVAC labor shortage with smart recruiting technology. He is really leading the way for a lot of huge HVAC businesses and really changing the way that they're hiring and retaining. So please scan the QR code and join us next week, October 2nd from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today.